My friends, every morning when we rise, we stand at the threshold of a battle before our feet even hit the floor. Before we pour that first cup of coffee, the enemy of our souls is already whispering doubt, whispering the lie that we must carry today's burdens alone. From the moment we open our eyes, the weight of life begins pressing down. The worries of yesterday creep back in. The uncertainties of tomorrow loom large. And before we even step out of bed, we feel the pressure to perform, to control, to fix, to figure it all out on our own. It is in these early moments that a choice is set before us. Will we try to handle this day in our own strength, relying on our own wisdom, leaning on our own understanding, or will we place it all, our plans, our worries, our hopes, into the hands of the one who holds all things together? I remember a time when I thought I had to do it all myself. I would wake up with a list running through my mind, tasks to complete, meetings to attend, problems to solve. Before I even got dressed, I felt exhausted. It seemed as though the day was already slipping out of my control before it had even begun. I would rush through my morning thinking if I just worked harder, planned better, stayed ahead, then maybe, just maybe, I could hold everything together. But no matter how much I tried, something always seemed to go wrong. An unexpected problem, a conversation that didn't go as planned, a delay that threw off my schedule. And every night, I would collapse into bed, weary and discouraged, wondering why I always felt so drained. But one morning, everything changed. I remember sitting in my car, overwhelmed by the weight of another busy day, when I finally stopped striving and simply prayed, Lord, I can't do this on my own. I need you to take over today. It wasn't a long or elaborate prayer, but it was a sincere surrender. And from that moment, something shifted. The day didn't suddenly become perfect. There were still challenges, still interruptions, still unexpected twists. But there was a peace that I had never known before. Instead of carrying the weight of the day on my own shoulders, I realized that I was walking with the one who had already gone before me. You see, when we wake up each morning, we don't just wake up to a schedule, to responsibilities, to obligations. We wake up to a spiritual battle. The enemy wants to keep us distracted, anxious, overwhelmed, and focused on ourselves. He wants us to believe that we have to figure it all out, that we have to be strong enough, smart enough, capable enough to handle everything that comes our way. But my friends, that is a lie. The truth is, we were never meant to carry the burdens of life alone. We were never meant to wake up and face the day in our own strength. God is waiting for us every single morning with open arms, ready to take the lead, ready to guide our steps, ready to fill us with peace and strength that we could never find on our own. But He will not force His way in. He waits for us to invite Him. He waits for us to say, Lord, this day is yours. Take it, lead me, guide me. And when we do, something incredible happens. The weight lifts, the burdens shift, the pressure fades. And we begin to move, not in our own strength, but in His. Think about a child holding the hand of their father as they walk through a crowded place. That child doesn't have to worry about the direction, doesn't have to fear getting lost, doesn't have to carry the responsibility of figuring out the way. They simply hold on, trusting that their father knows where they are going. That is what it looks like to surrender our day to God. It is saying, Lord, I trust you to lead me through this day. I don't have to know every step. I don't have to have all the answers. I just have to hold on to you. This is not a one-time decision. It is a daily, moment-by-moment surrender. Every morning we have the choice: will we try to run the day in our own strength, or will we place it in God's hands? Will we let stress dictate our steps, or will we walk in His peace? The battle of the day begins at dawn, but the victory is found in surrender. When we choose to let God take over, we will find that He is more than able to handle whatever comes our way. Surrendering to God is not just about handing over the big things in life, the major decisions, the life-altering moments, the seasons of crisis. It is about trusting Him in the ordinary, the routine, the seemingly small and insignificant moments of the day. Because, my friends, it is in those moments that our faith is truly tested. It is easy to say we trust God when life is going smoothly. But what about when things don't go as planned? What about when the traffic makes us late? When the unexpected email throws off our schedule? When a simple task turns into a frustrating delay? Too often we let these small moments dictate our moods, steal our peace, and shift our focus away from God. We start the day with good intentions, maybe even with a prayer, but as soon as the first inconvenience comes, we slip right back into our old ways, trying to control, trying to fix, trying to force things to go our way. But what if, instead of reacting with frustration, we paused and reminded ourselves, God is in control of this day, not me? What if we chose to see every delay, every change in plans, every challenge as an opportunity to trust Him more? I remember a time when I was running late for an important meeting. I had planned my morning down to the minute, but one small delay led to another, and before I knew it, I was stuck in traffic with no way to make it on time. My heart raced, my frustration grew, and I found myself gripping the steering wheel as if my frustration could somehow move the cars in front of me. But in that moment, I heard a quiet whisper in my heart: give it to me. I took a deep breath and prayed, Lord, I trust you. This day belongs to you. If I'm late, I'm late. But I will not let this steal my peace. And do you know what happened? The meeting started late. The delay that I thought was ruining my day turned out to be insignificant. But the real lesson wasn't about timing. It was about trust. It was about learning to surrender even in the small things and choosing to walk in peace instead of stress. How often do we let small frustrations rob us of joy? How often do we allow circumstances to dictate our peace instead of letting God be the anchor of our hearts? When we surrender our day to God, we are not just saying, Lord, take the big things. We are saying, Lord, take everything. The moments of joy and the moments of frustration, the times when things go right and the times when they don't. Surrender is not a passive act. It is an active choice to trust. It is choosing to believe that God is working in the details even when we can't see it. It is choosing to walk in faith even when we don't understand the path ahead. It is choosing to release our grip and say, Lord, have your way. And when we do, we begin to experience a peace that surpasses all understanding. A peace that carries us through the day no matter what comes our way. Some of us wake up each morning already carrying burdens we were never meant to carry. We wake up worried about things that haven't happened yet, anxious about things beyond our control, burdened by thoughts of what if and how will I handle this? But Jesus never intended for us to live that way. He said, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. That is not just a promise for salvation. It is a promise for every single day. It is an invitation to trade our worry for His peace, our striving for His strength, our stress for His rest. There is a freedom that comes when we truly let God take over. It doesn't mean life will be perfect. It doesn't mean challenges won't come. But it means we are no longer carrying them alone. It means we can walk through the day with confidence, knowing that the same God who created the heavens and the earth is guiding our steps. It means we can rest in the truth that no matter what happens today, God is already there, working all things together for good. When we truly surrender, we stop living in reaction mode, tossed around by circumstances, overwhelmed by the unexpected, controlled by emotions. Instead, we begin to live from a place of trust, a place of faith, a place of unshakable peace. And that, my friends, is the life God desires for us. Not a life of constant worry, but a life of constant trust. When we allow God to take over our day, something remarkable happens. We begin to see life through His eyes. And instead of feeling overwhelmed, we walk with a deep sense of purpose. Every conversation, every challenge, every moment becomes an opportunity to trust Him more, to lean into His wisdom and to experience His presence in ways we never have before. The small details of our day, which once seemed insignificant or frustrating, become reminders that He is working in all things, weaving them together for His perfect plan. But this kind of surrender does not come naturally to us. We are conditioned to take control, to plan, to predict, to ensure that everything goes according to our expectations. We like to map out our days, to set our schedules, to anticipate what's ahead, and yet, how often do our carefully laid plans fall apart? How often do unexpected detours leave us feeling frustrated and disoriented? I remember a day when everything seemed to go wrong. I had planned my time meticulously, expecting everything to run smoothly. But from the moment I stepped out the door, nothing went as expected. A meeting was canceled at the last minute. A friend who promised to help with a project backed out. A personal matter I thought was resolved suddenly resurfaced. By mid-afternoon, I felt completely out of control. My first instinct was to try to fix it all, to scramble for solutions, to figure out how to salvage the day. But deep inside, I felt a quiet nudge. Give it to me. Let it go. I took a breath, closed my eyes, and whispered, Lord, I surrender. This day is yours. I trust that even in the interruptions, even in the changes, you are still in control. And something shifted. The frustration faded, the anxiety lifted, and I found a peace I could not explain. The day didn't magically become perfect, but it no longer felt like a disaster. I realized that God was teaching me something far greater than just managing my time. He was teaching me to trust Him with every moment. When we invite God into our day, we begin to understand that delays are not always obstacles. Sometimes they are divine appointments. That conversation you didn't plan, it may be the very moment God uses to encourage someone. That unexpected detour, it may be a protection from something you never saw coming. That challenge you didn't anticipate, it may be the very thing God is using to refine your character and draw you closer to Him. But we only see these things when we are walking in surrender. When we try to force our own way, we miss the blessings hidden in the interruptions. We miss the opportunities buried beneath our frustrations. We miss the voice of God whispering, trust me, I'm leading you. God does not want us to walk through our days in constant anxiety, feeling as though everything depends on us. He wants us to live in the assurance that He is guiding every step. When we surrender, we find freedom. Not the freedom of a life without difficulties, but the freedom of knowing we do not have to face them alone. We find that we no longer have to carry the burden of controlling every detail because we serve a God who is sovereign over all things. How different would our days look if instead of waking up and rushing into our schedules, we first paused and said, Lord, lead me today? How much more peace would we carry if we truly believed that no matter what happens, whether things go according to our plan or not, God is still in control. Jesus never hurried, never rushed, never allowed circumstances to dictate His peace. He moved through life with a deep awareness of the Father's presence, fully surrendered to His will. And that same peace, that same trust is available to us. We do not have to live at the mercy of our emotions, tossed back and forth by what happens around us. We can wake up each day with confidence, knowing that the one who holds the universe also holds our schedule, our plans, our moments. There will always be things beyond our control, unexpected news, difficult people, unforeseen challenges. But when we have already surrendered our day to God, we no longer have to react in fear or frustration. We can move forward with faith, knowing that He goes before us, behind us, and beside us. We can walk through each moment with the assurance that we are not alone. And when we do this, we will find that even the hardest days become lighter. Even the most uncertain moments are filled with purpose, and even the biggest challenges cannot shake the peace that comes from knowing that God is in control. My friends, life will always be unpredictable. There will be days that go exactly as planned and days that feel like everything is falling apart. But the difference between walking in stress and walking in peace is who is in control. When we try to take charge of every detail, we will always find ourselves exhausted, frustrated, and overwhelmed. But when we let God take over, when we surrender our plans, our worries, and our desires to Him, we step into something greater. We step into His perfect will. So I ask you today, who is leading your day? Are you carrying burdens that were never meant for you? Are you striving in your own strength when God is calling you to rest in His? Right now, right where you are, you have the opportunity to make a choice. You can continue to go through life on your own, or you can say, Lord, I trust You. This day is Yours. When you wake up tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you dive into the rush of the day, take a moment, breathe, surrender, invite God into every moment, and then watch what He does. Watch how He guides, how He provides, how He moves in ways you never expected. Because when God takes over, the impossible becomes possible. The heavy burdens become light. And every step is filled with His peace. Let today be the day you stop striving and start trusting. Let today be the day you give your day to God and watch how He transforms your life, one surrendered moment at a time.